everybody, and welcome back to the Lit Ladies podcast. We've been on hiatus, and we are back and better than ever. Today we're discussing the first, I think it's 113 pages of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. My name is Emily.
I'm Abby.
I'm Holly.
And I'm Miriam.
I am loving this book so far.
Are you?
Yes.
It's really different, isn't it?
It's different.
I never tab books, and I have 6 tabs.
In the first 113
In the first
pages.
113 pages, and that's a lot.
I think the writing is beautiful.
It's like-
I love the writing.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of Delia Owens.
Yes,
Yeah,
it does.
like
And the
crawdads.
Firekeeper's Daughter, it's that vibe.
It's very
It's
rich storytelling.
Rich.
Yes.
Yes.
So remember the last book we read, and I was saying that I can't visualize. I can't see anything. You know, as I'm reading, I'm just hearing and not seeing. This one, I'm seeing where she's at and what she's doing. And so I thought that was telling of her storytelling.
Yeah.
Or his, I don't know.
I think it's a he.
Is
Is
it?
it a he or a she? We
I
should
don't
probably
know.
know this.
It could be they.
The author.
Yeah.
The author.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's
I'm really surprised.
it's
so far.
different than I thought. It's kind of dark. Like, I don't know what I was thinking
In a
from the
good way.
description. No, in a good way, yeah. It's
sad. I'm like sad.
It's heartbreaking when
It's-
she's like, when she first wakes up and nobody's remembering her, and she's like, please, like, oh man. And her dad's all, we don't have a daughter, get out of our house. Oh my.
And she's just like in their house
I
though.
know.
Can you imagine? Like, you didn't know this person.
Or
and
you come back and this person's holding your baby.
That was insane. I
I
know.
know.
Like,
I have to ask just to clarify. So when they walk away from her, then they don't remember. So they have to, like, she keeps saying closing doors,
Yeah.
but I think it's even just right.
Yeah.
Walking away.
I think so.
But she's noticed. She said it. She says that they forget when like doors close. So I think it's when they're like moving into a different space.
Okay, because outside by the river, right, Isabella,
Yeah. Well, she had
the
turned.
second time,
But she's out
Yeah.
of frame. She's like completely
she's
out of
away
frame.
from her. Okay, so
Right?
it's not just doors; it's just
In my
leaving.
head, the way I see it is if they are moving away from her and it's been between 45 seconds and a minute, she's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the guys in the barn, she ran
Oh,
out there
man.
and watched them slowly forget what they
Yeah.
were doing.
You're
my
right.
Goodness.
That was scary.
Yeah,
The barn.
yeah.
Very.
Yeah, 'cause they're cutting her clothes off.
Yeah.
What the heck?
So in my head, it's like, okay, 30 to, or like between 30 seconds and a minute after they have stopped engaging and like
I think
seeing
that's what
her
it
and
is
talking
the
to her.
engagement. I think
Yeah.
that's what
But
it
it's
is.
such the depth of it is so she can't write anything.
Oh my
Everything
goodness.
disappears. She can't say or write her own name.
Yeah.
Like, I just, the depth of it. And I love the way that the darkness is described. Like, she pictured him and he became what she pictured.
Yeah.
And the things he says to her and woof.
And how the guys she picks look like her imaginary person that the shadows.
Yeah, he's really cool the way that that's described and that he is. Yeah.
And he's like in her head.
Yeah.
Like, I remember.
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
So I think it's when she puts on the ring. Is that when she gives up?
So
Yeah,
I
I feel like that's a point.
Because I'm
Well,
wondering.
they haven't went there yet.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
but there
so
was one thing
yeah,
where
'cause
he's
the-
like, I'm waiting.
The ring is destroyed.
Yeah, because in
So
the
somehow the ring
1700s
comes back
Comes
because
back,
they've talked about it in
Lord
2014.
of the Rings.
Keeps coming back.
Because when it's in the 1700s, when it first happened,
Yeah,
she doesn't have anything.
Yeah,
Not
it was
even the
destroyed.
ring.
Yeah.
because she offered it up though, right? She
Yeah.
offered it
She
to
did.
get out of
That was
getting
her
married.
last thing.
Yeah, her precious gift.
But she did. She did
Yeah.
blame
My
her mother for a little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, because I think one thing she said in there in 2014 was she pulled it out and looked at it.
Yeah.
She's like, I won't put it on. And
Yeah.
he
So
said
it means-
something.
it means
He's like, I'm
something.
waiting. Why don't you join
It
me?
means something
Yeah.
to put it on. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the ultimate. I'm done.
She's
got
like
my soul
married
now.
to the darkness.
Ooh, I'm excited for that.
Loki, I'm kind of into him.
I know.
I know.
Kind of reminds me of Resand.
I
in
know.
that
He's
way.
yeah, I agree. He's
And,
like, just join me. And you're
What's
like,
his face?
oh.
Satan with the shadows. I'm like,
Yeah, but he's like not even like a person though. He's just.
I
like
know.
a-
He's just,
It's her imagination
Well, the
that
shadows-
has
It is.
taken
the
that shape.
shadows take the form of that
Yeah.
guy that she's always imagined.
Well, and as we read further towards 113, we learned more about her imagination she went all in with this
Yeah.
drawing and with this imagination
Yes.
before
She did.
he took on that person.
She did. Yeah,
She
she
did.
created a life for herself, a lover, and like a knight in shining armor. It's that typical to get her. She hated her life. I can relate. Like she wanted to be free, to have choices. Women, like we get choices today, and I know we don't get all the choices we think we should.
Yeah.
But back then, can you imagine?
Well,
There
her
were
just
no
trying
choices.
to get into a room, they're like, we don't want no whores here.
Yeah.
You know, if you were by yourself, if you weren't with mom and dad or your husband, you were.
Even Isabel, when she saw her, she's like, you can't travel alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she just didn't want to get married and have like kids. Boom, be a baby factory, right? That's what we were. That's what women were.
And go into a marriage where he already had kids.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot too.
Yep.
And he was just looking for a wife, a mother
Yeah.
for his kids. Not really necessarily a wife.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting the way they said age. She's 3 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
That's period trauma.
It is
I
period.
like that. It makes more. It makes sense.
Yeah.
3 and 20. Yeah.
So what the heck with Henry? Didn't it seem like he saw her longer?
Henry's special.
She went out the door.
Yeah.
And he
she was
followed
like,
her.
whatever, because she had it in her arm, she's going to go.
Because she thought he would forget, but he didn't.
Yeah.
And then it starts following him.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
and then
he's
it's from
special.
his perspective.
Yeah.
He's gonna remember her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
because
he looks
has
like
something.
him. He actually, because not all the guys
Well, yeah, because
They-
she took a second look, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She kind of like, wait.
They have,
But it's
certain,
not
like,
him.
I
It
think
can't be
she's-
him.
But I think she said like some of them will have just one aspect
Yep.
of it.
Mm-hmm. But for him, I think when she saw him, at first she thought it was him.
She did.
But then she took a double take and she was like, I don't know, he looks like faintly like him. Like in her mind. I don't know how to describe it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, he's got the dark curls and the green eyes, and
Yeah.
he seemed nice. He was nice to her,
He was nice.
right? Yeah. So
And he's like, "Why'd you steal this one?"
I know in German. Was it German? Greek. In
Yeah.
Greek.
Yes.
Yeah,
More
Greek.
obscure.
Because she could read it.
Yeah, I love how she's learned all these languages and.
Well, what else would you do? I mean, 300 years. Can you imagine being
And the
alive,
piano.
but not having a home, you're having to steal?
Yeah.
Like I didn't think
And
about that
suffering.
part of it, and
Yeah.
suffering.
And suffering, you don't have to eat, but she's like, tell that to my body, you know.
That's one of the parts that.
And she felt the
Which
pain
one was it?
of being stabbed, and she felt the scratches on her legs and the coldness, so much so that she thought she was dead.
Yeah.
They thought she was dead. Threw her in the back of the wagon.
Yes.
I know.
Once I realized what was going on, I was like, oh my God,
It took me a second too. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what's happening? And then yeah.
I'm not dead yet. I thought it was sad though when she went back right away. She went back home, and the way that she described her dad, that he had this sadness, and then I was thinking she was their first and only,
Yeah.
and then you wonder, did they ever have children? I mean, and then for her to call them mom and dad, then they really wanted to throw her out. I think because he was so sad. But didn't it say something funny? I don't know. Not funny. Not that he recognized her. Maybe it was just because she was a young girl calling him dad. But there was like a hesitation that last push
I
out
kind
the
of
door.
got that too.
Or how was it Estelle? She said there was a moment where I thought
She paused.
she paused, like there was some recognition, but it went right away.
I found it. I was looking below my tab instead of above my tab. Can you tell that I don't tab my books? It said the darkness has granted her freedom from death, perhaps, but not from this, not from suffering.
Yeah. That's just it, right? When you make a deal with the devil, you better define it.
Yeah, or like the
Because
genie.
she didn't.
You know?
All she said was, "I want to live.
And
Yeah.
she said, "I'll do anything.
I'll
I
do
was like,
anything."
"No."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how you feel, right? I mean, I can't imagine being forced into a marriage. That's a life you don't want. So, and then the sun, she didn't even mean to in the dark.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
sun
no.
was going down and she was so
In her
desperate she didn't
desperation,
even
yeah.
know.
But then she was like, "Well, he's the only one who answered."
It's true. It's true.
But wouldn't it be just like, the dark forces to answer at your moment of desperation? He could have answered any old time. But she wouldn't have been desperate.
Yeah.
He did bite her lip. He did draw blood.
He did bite her.
Yeah, he's like a
That
vampire.
must have sealed the deal. Is that it?
That's what I was thinking. That was
Always
thinking
into
some kind of-
vampires, guys.
Well, he did bite Flip.
I wondered as I was reading it, I thought she's going to have to be a prostitute to survive.
Yes.
It's the only way she
That
can
was
make money.
awful.
Nobody remembers
Yeah,
her.
that was awful.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
And then when she questioned herself again, this is what I sold everything for. I gave up, the so-called life that I didn't want, that I was afraid to have. I gave it all up for what? This?
Which
Barely
is-
surviving, selling myself.
Yeah, and she's selling herself, and she would have the same thing, but had a marriage, like had security, and I don't know.
What I found out about that was before they actually got to her in the middle of everything, she was describing how she thought sex was going to be.
I know.
She's like, it's going to be my pleasure and his pleasure. It's going to be an amazing thing. And then it cuts to just, this is not what sex is. It's just kind of like, there's no rhythm. There's no
He just entered. And
no romance to it. And it was really, really sad. And I think that's a kind of harsh reality for some people in real life right now. Anyway, is that it's not like sex is romantic or meaningful. It's kind of just sex, and that's that.
I like how she kind of gives a little bit of hope, though, because she's like, she might not know this now, but in years to come, she will learn to blah,
love
blah.
that.
Because I felt it's almost not depressing, but it is depressing. But it's like there's a heaviness. And you're like, oh my God, she's gonna live 300 years like this. It's gonna get rough. But then there's that hopefulness in there that keeps you reading.
Because she doesn't give in. She's still alive. So something
I
has
don't
to
think she
keep...
can give in. I don't think she knows there's a choice to not give in yet. I think
That-
they
I
hint
thought-
at that with the ring in 2014, but I don't know that she knows she can't die right now.
No,
Right?
I thought it was until she gave up. She's like,
Oh,
I
I
won't
didn't
live
catch
until
that
I
part.
decide.
She's
Oh,
the one
I
who
didn't
said.
catch that.
She's the one who said, "When I'm done with my life,
I'll let you
You
know.
can have it. So it
She
is her
did
choice.
say that. You're right.
So he's trying to coax her. He's like, come join me.
And
hey.
she's so stubborn.
She's so stubborn.
That's how she's been from the beginning. That's how she got here.
Yeah.
She's stubborn, and it's gonna be her choice.
Yeah.
Even if it's a bad one, it's gonna be her choice.
Yeah.
And I like that.
You like that?
I like that about her. It's. I don't know.
Can you picture her? I have a hard time picturing her.
I can't picture her, but I think I can picture just about everything
Me
else.
too.
Yeah.
Well-
Me too, but I thought about that. But she
Aw,
must be
her day.
pretty. Because
Well,
everywhere
yeah.
she goes, she's noticed, right?
The thing for me is I've seen a movie trailer for a movie called Adeline that I'm pretty sure is this
Oh, it's
book.
not.
It's not?
It's not.
Oh, well, that's weird then. It's really similar. So I'm picturing, what's her name?
Blake Lively.
Blake Lively. That's who I'm picturing.
Okay, because I think she is she blonde? I think she's blonde.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't really say.
I don't know that they've described what she looks like other than she's pretty.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that trailer, because that trailer, it's kind of the same thing. This girl who lives forever, and so
Oh,
that's
okay.
who I've
Yeah.
been picturing.
Okay.
Is
She
Blake
must be a
Lively,
little
kind of.
pretty for someone to take her home because she meets people
She
and
does
goes,
meet people.
you know,
Yeah.
and
I
goes
thought it
home
was
with
interesting
them
because
within a day.
And they're drawn to her too.
I thought it was interesting is that Toby, the musician, because in the beginning he's the first one that we know that she's
That
with
we
in
know.
the modern times, and she's like, we spent weeks doing this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, I
No,
thought
I
I
was
forgot
so
her, but then you
confused.
realize
Well,
she keeps
then,
going
yeah.
back and going back.
What is it? Is it 50 First Dates?
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is a comical way or whatever, but
Right.
kind of you're meeting, you know, and she's like, she decides to leave because she goes, the rise isn't worth the fall.
Yeah.
And for
I
those
know.
weeks it was, but every time she knows that he's not going to remember.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to wake up.
And then she's like,
And
I
it's
should
like,
have left.
why are you, I should have left before he woke up. To see, to not see that, who are you? And then the girl, Sam, she was with her for 3 months.
Yeah.
You know, they did that.
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah.
I thought it was interesting because it's the one time she's outside the bar where he sings, and she it sounds like she goes in and is going
I
to do it,
thought
and then
so,
she's
yeah.
like, but I'm standing out here, I'm
Yeah.
not going in.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
so well written to me. It's
Yeah.
like, wow.
No, I
Can
was
you
like,
imagine
what?
kind of
What do you
doing the
mean?
same and re-meeting the same
Oh.
person for weeks? You know, and
learn to fall in love
like
with.
when she was talking with Sam, and she's like, yeah, she said that line before, and she said that before, and we've done this before, you know. That would be interesting, strange, and sad.
Very sad.
Yeah, it would be sad. Just heartbreaking.
But she wouldn't be alone, though, is what she said.
And she like goes stays in that actor's apartment.
I love
why
that.
I
That's
hotel.
so cracked
I
up.
love that.
love
That's
that.
They're
amazing.
like,
Because she like runs to the
I'm
elevator.
going
and she's
to
like, "You won't
James's
remember
room.
me."
He's not here. Even better.
She's like running.
Asta.
That was cute though, because
And he was
he totally
really-
apologized to her. He's like, I'm gay, and she's
Yeah.
like, okay, let's do it. And they like
Yeah.
that was
It was
awesome.
very sweet.
I'm
Yeah.
using you right now.
She's like, okay, use me.
And she was like sad because they could have been really good friends.
For a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if he didn't forget her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked him. And then she was trying to go there, and then
He shows
he
up.
came home.
Came home.
Dang it. No bubble baths for me.
No bubble
Okay.
bath and no Merlot.
For hers, it's kind of convenient sometimes, you know. Like she spilled the wine on his white couch, and it just disappeared.
Disappeared.
I was
kinda
wondering
nice.
because I was like, "Hey."
Yeah,
you know.
me too.
It is like kind of convenient and funny in those situations. I think that's meant to be like the comedic part of it, just to make you laugh. But it's just so sad also because imagine all the things you do are just completely erased. You know?
But she is leaving some remembrances of herself. She had a box of tea at Toby's house, you know, and then even at James's house, she was looking for something, but it was in the very back and it was empty. But at least it was there. You know, was it crackers or something like that? Something she was looking for.
Or she wrote a song with Toby.
She
Yeah.
I love that.
And yeah, I love that. It's sad to me because she loves drawing so much, and her dad.
And she cannot.
That's
do
something
it.
she did with her dad, and he kind of shaped a pencil, right? That's what I got out of it. Like,
Yeah.
and now she can't. You know, she can't draw. She can, but it's gone. Like that would be really sad.
Even in when she was drawing in the sand, it would just like went away.
the bird statue was cool. The bird. She kept talking about, and then she saw it in the museum. I thought that
Okay,
was
so
really
I was
cool.
excited because the next section it had there was a picture, a painting
Yep.
with her stars, with the
I
7.
noticed
I
that.
know.
So I'm like, okay, let's hear the story of how that came to be.
Yeah, that's really cool how they do that in
Yeah.
the front of the book. And
She
then-
started talking about her dad's bird carvings, and I went back to that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait
The
a
little
minute.
bird and
And they're on
the
the cover.
it was based on
like,
something
in,
that they had found, and you know,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's something exciting. That's something hopeful. So maybe it's not as dire as what she feels that she's not being remembered. I mean, that's something, right? The song.
I think so. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Nobody knows, but she knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows it's her, but
Yeah.
she knows.
He doesn't even. Yeah. Toby
He doesn't even know. Mm-mm.
Yeah. In the, this is on like page 18. It's my first tab, and it says, she can't leave her own mark, but if she's careful, she can give the mark to someone else.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When she was talking about the song with Toby. I think Toby's a funny name too.
Yeah, I couldn't get.
Do you?
I always think of Toby.
Toby was like, I
have to say it every time.
I just think of like
That's
Toby
funny.
Maguire.
No.
Toby
God.
Maguire.
And then like if I had a tortoise, I would name it Toby.
A turtle? You would name
A
it?
tortoise, yeah.
No, a tortoise.
Oh, another thing I loved. Where? It says Addie has had 300 years to practice her father's art, to whittle herself down to a few essential truths, to learn the things she cannot do without. And this is what she settled on. She can go without food, she will not wither. She can go without heat, the cold will not kill her. But a life without art, without wonder, without beautiful things, she would go mad. She has gone mad.
And then I think right underneath that it says what she needs, though.
What she needs are stories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like when in spring of 1707, when she's 16, it says, no, Adeline has decided she would rather be a tree, like Estelle. If she must grow roots, she would rather be left to flourish wild instead of pruned, would rather stand alone, allowed to grow beneath the open sky. Better that than firewood cut down just to burn in someone else's hearth.
Someone else's hearth.
And I just
We've
love
heard that before too, though. That idea in A Woman Is No Man.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
we're just gonna raise these daughters and give them away. They're no good to us.
Yep.
You know, we're feeding them and they're putting us out.
Another tab I have, which was just, I read this part I think like 3 times because I don't know, it just struck me, I guess, and just the way it's a good example of how the writing is, I guess. And it says, the sky outside is a static gray, a thin mist of rain blurring the buildings. It is the kind of day designed for wood fires and mugs of tea and well-loved books. I don't know why that just really resonated with me, and I liked it a lot. Talking about how the rain like blurs the buildings, and it puts such a clear image in my head. And then the next page, I have another tab because when she's talking about, it says, it is sad, of course, to forget, but it is a lonely thing to be forgotten.
I have that one too. Yeah.
So sad.
Like, hits you in your gut.
I just want to be like, I'll remember you. I'll remember.
I like
And
to.
then sorry, go ahead. I was just saying, I'm just wondering, I'm like, what if somebody's out there living like this right now?
We wouldn't know.
Wouldn't know.
She came in and had some goldfish and she out.
Who's that?
What was that? Nothing.
Or like someone you
What are
met
you
at the
talking about?
grocery store. It's crazy.
Dude, how did that like M&M's get there?
It's weird because we can't really imagine what it would feel like.
No, I can't.
No, not
You
the
can't.
death.
I don't think anybody can.
Mm-mm. After 300 years?
Or even a week of no one.
Well, after
mean,
a
did
week,
you-
yeah, I know,
Did
but...
you even exist? If no one knew you were here or saw
Especially
you or
your
remembered,
own
did you
family.
even exist?
Your own family, your
Yeah.
best friend.
Yeah.
Like, and I love the way she keeps saying her name.
Yes.
I'm Addie LaRue, you know, born to these parents on this day in this town, village, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What did you tell Miriam?
Oh, I loved it when she's with the actor or whatever, James. Is it James? Yeah. And it said it's so much easier to share a secret than to keep one.
Yeah.
And that's very true. But this, then she keeps talking about deja vu, and she said already seen, already known, already lived.
Are there
And that
two
kind of stood out to
all
me.
3 different? It's like deja
Yep.
vu, deja su.
Yep.
And then the
I
other
know.
one
I had to
was-
look.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yep.
I was like, I've never heard that. I've only
know.
heard deja vu.
The thing is, I think I only caught it. Did she say it twice?
Yes.
Because I think the first time I skipped over it because I thought she just said deja vu 3 times.
She might have said it 3 times.
Then the second time, I was like, wait, those are all different, and then I looked it up.
I love it said Henry would rather be a story keeper than a storyteller.
I love that.
I love that so much. Because I thought, you know, I think, yeah, I love that. I think that's, yeah. The last word is a cool name.
I like it too, actually. You know, that was kind of like how mine was the last chapter, but you rejected it.
I didn't reject it.
But
Yeah, the last word is a good name for a bookstore.
it's just like, yeah, it's just cool.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, I don't know where it's going to go. Like, obviously, Henry, there's something there, right? It says in the description, all of a sudden someone does remember her.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's Henry.
What if it's just like a dark twist and the darkness is like, let this one person remember her, and then he takes it away, and then she's like, I'm ready to give up.
Maybe.
Because now I've been remembered, and now it's getting taken away again. It's fresh.
Abby just spoiled the whole book.
What if it is? Hey, I called it here on episode 1, guys.
But what happens if he does? Like, how that changes everything. I
She
think.
moves.
You think she moves?
I don't know.
You don't think she lives in it?
You
like,
don't think she
wouldn't-
would lean in?
Maybe for a
300
little
years of loneliness, you don't think she would. But she's eternal, immortal.
Yeah. She couldn't do it forever. He would have to know.
No. She'd have to tell him. And I don't know if that might be allowed. I don't think there's rules about that. She could tell
No,
someone.
it said that she
She
couldn't.
can't.
It can't come out of, she won't come out of her mouth.
When she goes to tell
Like,
the
she
truth,
can't
it
breathe.
gets stuck.
Okay. More than just her own name.
Yes.
And and remember she was like talking to the bird, but it was in her head.
You're right.
She was telling the bird in her head.
Yeah.
She was totally sane.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're bound to go insane.
No, I know. But yeah, she was talking to somebody and was talking about how the words physically got like stuck. But then the next words were like, it was like nothing happened.
Because she learned to lie. Lies came easily.
Yeah, it was Isabel.
Because her whole life is kind of one, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was sad that she can't say her own name, but the closest she can get to was Madeline, I think, right? So she was like, this is as close as I can get to it. So that might have been in her head.
I think that's what you read.
Yeah, I read ahead on accident, so I have a little bit of things in my head that I shouldn't say.
Yeah, that one. Okay,
My bad.
Stop there.
My bad.
The last tab I have that I didn't mention yet was when she lost the bird. And it says, now that it is gone, there is a guilty gladness tucked among the grief. That this last brittle thread to her old life has been broken, and Addie has been set well and truly and forcibly free. I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
I can't believe I read the 113.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
I
easy
just
to
picked
do,
it
I
up,
think it
and I
would
was
be
like,
easy
You
to
had already finished the reading?
No, because I was reading it, I was like, why is it like reading like I already know this information? I don't know this information, but it's because I haven't read the last section. So I was reading, and I was here.
I'm so confused.
Okay, I was reading way far ahead, and I'm like, they're telling me things that, as if I already knew them from the last section.
Oh, you missed it.
Like, it already told me it, but I hadn't read it yet. I've already read ahead.
She skipped ahead.
So you started on page 113.
Yes,
For
today.
your whole reading.
Today.
You didn't start from page
No,
1.
okay, yesterday I started from the beginning, and I don't remember when I left off, like 50?
So you read like 50 pages and then
Yes!
you picked up on page 113.
Yes, and it's still read. I still could read it and understand, because, it kind of skips around a little
It
bit.
does, yeah.
But I was like, reading it, I was like, why the heck are they treating it
So-
like I know this information?
So what happened was you read about 50 pages yesterday and you went to the book thinking of the number 113 because that's where we stopped.
No, I
But
had
you
a bookmark.
Oh, because you had the bookmark there. Okay.
To stop there.
So you're open to 113.
I
That's
have lots of
great.
bookmarks. Would you like
silly.
tomorrow?
So then you went back and read. Did you
Yes,
go back?
once I was done, I was like, well, now I need to get the other information that I missed, because otherwise I wouldn't have known James.
You're like, who is this guy?
And, like, randomly in the book they mentioned James, and I'm like, who the hell is this dude? I don't know. But I'm glad I went back and read it, so.
When you sent that first text, I was
I was confused that I did it.
Yeah.
So I was still confused. I was like, I'll figure it out, guys. I'll figure it out.
You talked yourself through it.
No,
I'm
did you
fine,
see
I'm
my thought process? It was like this big bubble, and I was like, wait, I don't know. I'll figure it out. And then Emily's like, what?
I was like, did you
See,
read
no, I
ahead or
didn't
not?
read that it was Emily who said what. I thought that whole thing was you. I was like,
So I'm
gonna
reading
leave that alone.
But
in the middle of cooking, I'm like,
I was just talking to herself.
I think it's going to be it's really different.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We haven't read one like this, before. So hopefully it stays good, and
I can't even fathom what she's experienced living for 300 years.
and suffering.
Yeah.
yeah, like
So
not
she's not
not
even
the
getting
high
the
life.
fun stuff.
Yeah,
of
she's
being
not
an
getting the
immortal.
high life.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, I mean, that's what she kind of wished for that. She
Yeah.
just kind of wished to live.
She just
Yeah.
wanted to be free and
Yeah.
to live.
And what was it? Was it before or I thought it was after she was already stabbed and she said the thing about suffering and then it was like she doesn't even know the meaning of that word yet.
I know.
And I'm like,
The
what do you mean?
foreshadowing, yeah.
What do you mean?
Because she went through
And
World War II and
Jennifer
won.
Lawrence
Yeah.
on Hot Ones. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Because she's been through wars.
I know.
And if she's in Paris, that's like.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty awful what she's experiencing in Paris,
I was kind of surprised to see how long she stays in one place. But then I'm also like, well, she's talking about like learning every street corner.
I think it's just.
Well, then also doesn't she walk?
She's
Yeah,
not
that's
even
true. It's
been
not
in
like she
Paris
can-
that
yeah,
long,
she
right?
can't-
Because
not right
she
now.
had
She
just
has to do it
got
now.
rid of her wedding dress recently.
She stole that. Yeah.
She had been wearing her wedding dress that whole time until she stole something off the line.
Oh, it went on her way to Paris.
Yeah. So she hasn't been in Paris that long.
In New York, I was like,
I
no,
think
she didn't wear a wedding dress
No,
for
I think in the
300
beginning
years.
it's been what, a year or less?
Oh, less.
Yeah,
Way
it's
less.
very,
Less,
very,
way
very
less.
new.
It's still the same
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever paid attention to the dates in a book, to be honest.
I'm trying to, but it's kind of hard because I just want to read it because then I'll figure it out in there.
Yeah, when she says
I don't
I'm
know
3 and
about
20.
you.
I'm 3 and 20.
Or she's like,
with the reading, Abby.
hey, whatever.
I
read it.
It's crazy to me that she made the deal and he's like done, and then she doesn't have a clue what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Like he didn't give her any like there was it's just kind of crazy.
It's like that genie that they talk about where, you better make sure you word it carefully because they're going to twist it.
Yeah.
Like, that's their fun.
And she just woke up and
Estelle told her, don't be making no deals. Don't be praying to nobody who answers after dark.
But do you think would it have changed if she had known? I wonder if her choice would have changed if he had said, fine, you'll live, but no one will ever remember you.
I think.
Right? That's where I'm like, that's almost not fair. Like, she didn't know. Would it have changed? Would she still have done it? Would you have done it?
She would have reworded it. That's for sure.
But it would have been too late.
And he probably would have said no then.
Right, because he said no at first. He's like, dude, you're not giving me enough. Why would I? I love that too, actually. Yeah. But yeah, I wonder if she had the choice, if she had known. But I don't think she still would have known the depth of the consequence, right?
Well, remember when she was reading the Hans Christian Andersen, the Grimm's thing, and she's like, oh, it's foolishness. It's a bunch of humans who are asking for more than they deserve, being sorry with the consequences, and that was just a total description of her. Making wishes, asking for things they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
She might not have even survived if she didn't make that choice. That one guy, what was his name? The guy she was supposed to marry? His first wife died in childbirth. No biggie, just go get another wife. I mean, she might not have even survived.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
What?
The exchange. Like,
right
she
now
wanted freedom, but
no.
freedom, I'd say no.
As of right now, it's a hard no.
Yeah. Was it worth it? The life, I mean, I don't have a clue what an arranged marriage would be, right? We don't know.
No.
But there's a lot of things that she probably wishes she had from that she doesn't have now. Mm-hmm. Could you think, well, couldn't she just create her own life? Probably not, right? Within that marriage, I don't think that was a possibility.
If you think about it, like when she was trying to get just a room at the inn, they wouldn't take her in because she was by herself. So even if she had stayed,
and run away
in that marriage and ran away, there was nowhere to go.
Either way, she would have been choosing unhappiness for her life. But at least I think, I don't know.
She also would have starved to death because she doesn't eat for like days.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So if she would have run away from the marriage as immortal, she would have just died. I think if she ran away.
Yeah, because she was going to run either way. She wasn't.
Yes.
But I'm saying if she had decided to stay,
yeah,
could she have created somewhat of a life?
No, because I think there was already a mold in place where she was supposed to be, what she was supposed to be in that marriage.
She would be like Isabel.
Yeah, and that's not what she wanted, but...
But I thought it was interesting because I feel like she misjudged Isabel a little bit.
She did.
She did, because when she saw her with her kids, she's like, oh my gosh, it's like she was born to do this.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that was kind of cool to me because some women do love being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting that she did notice, okay, wait, this isn't what I thought. Not that every day is rosy, I'm sure, but... Yeah, you just wonder if she had known the consequences. Like, would it have changed her mind in the moment? Probably
I don't
not.
think so because she was so desperate at that
either.
moment. She wouldn't have thought about it.
Yeah.
So...
I hope I'm never that desperate. Do you ever think about that? Like, can you imagine being that desperate? Yeah. I can't imagine.
Sell your soul to the devil.
To the darkness. Like, she didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, not even like...
She didn't even know if it was the devil.
He's like, what do you think I am?
And he kept calling it,
or am I the darkness? Or am I this guy that you have been
I'm going to be the
dreaming of?
I
man
know,
that
and
you're
the part
dreaming
when
of.
he looked down and saw himself, and he was like... He didn't even realize what he looked like yet. Or the personhood that he took.
I think we've been reading so many books where the like quote unquote bad guy is like the good
Sexy.
guy kind of.
Yeah.
And so I'm like kind of into this darkness dude, and it's kind of
he's like
uncomfortable.
whispering in her ear. I'm like, ooh,
this is sexy.
No, he's evil.
Yeah, literally evil. And you're like, wait, he might be good.
There was no enemies to lovers here.
A redemption arc. Yes, the darkness.
Well, it's interesting how she created that. I just thought of this, like, he was the only God that answered to her.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
So that's why he took on the shape of her knight in shining
Yeah.
armor. That's why she saw him like that, because he was the only one who came to her rescue, which she didn't know was actually not that much of a rescue.
No, I think he took on that shape to get her to do it. I mean, I think he's manipulating her.
Well, yes.
Because if you're this scary, crazy, on fire, flaming beast, you're not going to be like, I don't want to make a deal with you. So I think some of it was he knew what she had imagined, and he became that, But he was the only one that answered. I mean, although she prayed, like, one guy died. Do you remember? They wanted to marry her, and then the other guy found another girl. That's pretty funny.
Isabel.
Didn't she say that when he died, she felt relief?
Yes.
Yeah.
What? I mean...
It was interesting the part where she says something, I can't remember now, but it was like, and she didn't realize at that time that she had cursed herself before he even did.
Yeah,
Because he gave her, it two times to kind of like, I'm not going to do it for you. And she's all, yes, you have to, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, it's not worth it. I mean, she had chances to walk out and go away and realize that it was dark, you know.
Yeah.
You're right. I noticed that too. I thought,
liked that part.
she
I'm like,
knew she cursed herself.
Yeah, well,
it
her
wasn't
saying
him.
no.
It was her. Because he
She
said
chose.
no, and she's like, no, yes, you have to say
He
yes.
just
You're
plays
right.
into her desperation
Yeah.
because now he's denying her. He's like, but you came. But you came, so you have to do it. So he's
And
like
then after
playing
the fact,
into it.
too,
Yeah.
you know, she's calling out to him and she can hear him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the things he said. I won't come just because you call.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says something else and, oh, how did he respond? But he's basically throwing his words back at her.
He is.
You know.
And also playing into that moment with the people running after her, and she's hearing her name, Adeline.
Yeah.
So she's got that, like, they're going to find me, and, you know, it's interesting. And now she can't even say her own name.
Yeah.
I just think it's pretty significant.
Mm-hmm. And then the part of the docks, you know, where the guy's done, and she hears him, it's done. You know, the curse, the everything.
Oh.
I mean, there's a lot. I think lots and lots and lots to think about.
Yeah. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
how the
love it,
darkness
though.
is hot.
I do too. I'm really enjoying it. What? Darkness is hot? Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Don't say that at night, Abby. Don't say it in the dark.
No, we're so cool.
Do not pray.
And like reading it right after Fourth Wing too. It's
Isn't
like
it-
shadows? I'm just like, save it.
Yeah, or like a Court of Rose and Thorns, like with Azrael. He's the Shadow Man or the Shadow Slinger. So it's kind of like, it's kind of hot, dude. I'm just
That's
kidding.
why- this is why we need to know if it was written by a man or a woman. Because if it's a man, it's just evil. But if it was written by a woman,
Then there's
maybe
a
there's
redemption.
hope. Maybe there's hope.
Are we curious about Henry at all?
Yes.
Yeah, he's special.
Henry,
right?
yeah.
The scar,
Yeah, and he was like
and then
digging
the
into his
reopening,
palm.
and then it sounds like he might struggle with depression a little
Yes.
bit, or the storm.
I know.
I thought it was
Yeah.
bipolar
Yeah.
because it was he said there's a storm coming, so like manic
Mm,
and then depressive,
maybe.
Or yeah.
you know?
I don't know.
That's
do you
what I
think
was
that-
thinking.
It's a woman.
It's a woman?
Mm-hmm.
There's hope for the shadows.
No, well, he's probably just seductive, you know? He's probably
I
not
know.
redemption.
No, he's just
redeemed.
cunning and like a demon. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I think he
But
is.
whatever.
That's what I think it is. I think she made a deal
I thought it
with
was
the demon.
interesting too that it was deep in the woods, you know, and then other stories like The Hobbit, how the woods were.
Yeah.
There was darkness in the woods. They weren't happy places. That
Even
was
in
where
Harry
the
Potter.
darkness hid. Yeah.
Even in Harry Potter.
Yeah, so it's like a theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Interesting.
Don't go in the forest.
Don't go in the forest at night.
Alone.
And ask
Alone.
for things.
Yeah.
Dang.
and say you'll do anything for it.
Yeah.
This is dumb. When I read ahead, I want to talk about the things I read ahead about,
No.
but you guys don't know about them yet, so I'm in on something. It's kind
See,
of
I almost texted the group saying like, if you guys have time, we can read, but because if you
There's
write like
no
2
way.
more pages, it
I
was
was
the end
pushing
of
hard
part two.
today.
Me too. I didn't
You
have
read
time.
almost all
I
of
didn't
part
have
two.
time either. I got it
I do
yesterday.
really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
part 3 ends on
And
like,
it's
or
you
part
can't skim it.
2 ends on
Which I like.
like
I like it, but you
150.
do have to.
Well,
That's
and
crazy.
even to walk away from it is hard to get back into the rhythm of it because I
Yeah,
kept
see,
having to stop and I was
157.
doing something with dinner and
this is
then the
page
dog and then
158,
Julian's not
159,
feeling well.
and then-
That is so funny.
She stopped 2.5 pages before part 3. She read almost all of part 2.
It was so good. Part 2.
I have
I'm
to
glad.
read it again.
I'm glad. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So you'll have to read it again to be fresh for next week.
It's already. Well, yeah, maybe I will.
Maybe you will. Don't keep reading.
I have to read
She's
it
like,
to
I'm done.
what? 210 or something?
Yeah, because usually with book club, I'm like, no, don't add any more pages. Like, I'm good. But this one, I was like, I didn't want to stop reading. I might go home and read it tonight, actually. That's how much I'm liking it,
love
which
that.
is big for me.
It is. It is.
Because I do my reading on Thursdays.
What do you think the freckles mean?
I don't know, but I
Because they
read
bring
them.
them
But
up
they're
a
so
lot.
cute because I picture it 1 on her nose and then 3 on
Yeah.
each cheek.
But they mentioned it a lot, even
Yeah.
modern day.
Like this. Like,
You know, even in 2014.
where was it?
Well, in the beginning, when they're describing them, they weren't good things.
There was
The
That's
things
true.
that she was like comparing them to weren't necessarily
was
good
That's
things.
true.
Maybe.
A constellation.
Yeah. How many
centuries she's gonna live.
See, look, under the chapters, the freckle pattern,
Mhm.
that's how I picture it on her face.
Mm-hmm. I wondered if it, but it's not on here because I thought, because there's 7 on here on the cover, but it's not the right pattern.
She has so.
It didn't describe a pattern.
No, it just said.
You're right,
Just
it
said
didn't.
stone.
Constellation.
It's her own constellation.
It's just how I picture it.
Yeah.
It makes the most sense, symmetrical, but it has nothing to do with her curse, does it?
I don't know. That's
No,
what
'cause she
but
had
they
it
keep
before.
mentioning it.
She had it
There,
before.
there was a
Before the
lot to
curse.
say about
But he
the
might have-
7.
Play on it.
I just mean
Yeah.
she didn't get cursed and then all of a sudden these
Oh,
freckles are there.
right.
But he could have played into it. I don't know. At first, when I was first reading, I thought it was like they forget her after a certain amount of time.
Me too.
Because I thought she was like, we've been doing this for 3 weeks. I was like, oh, so she has
Me
like
too.
3 weeks with these people and then they forget her? That's weird. But no, then she just keeps going back.
How much would it suck though if you're talking to someone and it's like 10 seconds before they forget you? That's really bad because then you're like talking to them. You're not even full through a conversation yet. They're like,
But when she
"Who
got
are
the
you?"
room at the end, she's like, well, can't you give me a piece of paper that proves that I paid for a
Yeah.
week?
Ugh.
And she's like, no. And she said she didn't. She knew she wasn't going to get the full night, you know. And
Well, she
within,
thought she would.
Might get
yeah,
a full night.
they
but
came in
not
and
the
she's like,
rest.
what are you doing here? Get out.
And she was like, you told me you've been running this inn for 34 years. And the woman was like, she
And then it
paused for
talks
a
about how
second.
she learned how to learn secrets,
Yeah.
learn, you know, special things about.
Because then,
situations.
especially it's the 1700s, people just think she's a witch or something.
Yeah.
Like, be gone, witch.
Or
I,
crazy.
Burn her! What if she does get burned at the stake? It's not like she died.
What? It's 2000?
It's going back and forth.
Hmm.
It said she does not
I don't
yet
think
know
it-
the meaning of suffering.
When are the Salem witch trials?
I don't know, but Estelle mentioned there's too many
Yeah.
people being burned.
Burned at this thing.
But I think that she's gonna get smart
I thought that
enough
was
to be like,
interesting when she
I'm
went
not
to
saying it because
Estelle's
she already
house, though.
said.
Yeah.
And
that
she's
she's
like,
not
are you
gonna
a
say
spirit
things.
or are you a stranger?
Yeah.
I like Estelle.
I like Estelle too. I was
And
sad.
at first she said, I'm not a spirit, I'm real. And she slammed the door. And then the second time she said, I'm a stranger. And she wouldn't even talk to her.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping Estelle had secret knowledge or something.
Me
or-
too.
I really did.
Me
I was
too.
hoping that she would have
She needs
someone.
just like one person.
But maybe that's going to be Henry.
But
Maybe.
also, it was weird the way she talked about Estelle. So I'm like, what if she just pops up later?
What do you mean?
Like she was saying, like mentioning, you know, Estelle has always been old. She's always been that way. She just popped out of the ground. Literally. You know,
She's actually a witch.
you know, and what if that was literal? What if Estelle is not human?
What if-
I'm wondering if she's gonna like pop back up somewhere. I don't know.
How unfair, though, of Estelle, though, to kind of fill her mind with some of those things. I feel like, you know,
I don't know.
she was stubborn to start, and that wasn't probably a good thing for that time, you know. And her mom was even like, don't be telling to the dad, don't be telling her those stories, don't be letting her write her name, You know, just kind of setting her up to be unhappy. I mean, if you know there's a world out there, you know that there's other things, you're going to want those things. And I don't think the mom was being evil. I think she was just like, this is her life and it's best for her to not hope. You know?
Yeah. Kinda. I get both sides. I get that she wanted to protect her daughter, and that was the role back then, like to have your daughter go out. But from my perspective,
Oh,
I think
of course.
it's dumb.
Yeah,
but
so do I.
I know
So
it's
do I,
hard.
but I just reading that when how it described, I should have marked some things, but it described, you know, and Estelle knew that she was stubborn. You know, I think she regretted maybe.
Because are you talking about when she was asking Estelle about the other gods and
No, not
she-
that part, I don't think. The part right before the wedding, I think, and the mom. I'm going to go back and find it. We'll talk about it next time, yeah, because I felt it was pertinent. That's the only thing about when it goes back and forth, it's harder to find things. Because you're like, but 2014 was here, and it was also here. It's been like days. So it's her birthday.
yeah.
March 10th is her birthday, and I think we got till March 14th or something, is where we ended. In 2014, anyway. But I thought that was interesting.
Her birthday's March 10th.
March 10th.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, so they're gonna come for a visit on the 10th in 2014. Then soon.
What?
It's March 4th where we left off in 2014, right?
No,
No.
March 14th.
14th.
The 14th.
Ah, boo! She already had a visit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think you're.
I'm spiraling.
Yeah.
It's okay. I've
In
had a long
2014,
day.
but not in the other part.
I've had a long week.
I don't know. We have
I'm
not
so
learned about
confused.
no visits.
What? Oh shit.
We're not listening to you anymore.
I'm sorry. Don't listen to me.
It's fine. It's not.
It's all mixed up in my head.
Makes me feel
Okay,
so
now
much
you need
better.
to do what I do
You
and
just
put
be
sticky
quiet.
notes. Different than your tabs where we need to stop reading.
I do that too. because
Usually it's fine. I think I bookmarked it too tiny.
Usually
And
it's
it came
Holly.
undone. Well,
I know. That's why I said I feel so much better. I'm like, shame on you.
I did it once, but at least I gave
Holly-
you guys a chance to catch up.
Holly reads ahead
Always.
and then doesn't tell us.
That's
So at
true.
least I
Say
told
anything.
us.
Yeah, well, Abby, this is what you get for dog earing pages.
Okay, I like to dog your pages because I like my books to look used.
Well, but I made us these wonderful bookmarks and you don't even use
I
it, and
lost
look what
them.
I
happened.
use all of them.
So I lost
And I use
them.
paper towels. And today there was a paper towel in it, plus all this other junk. And then I had it open like this. And I use what I can.
I'm a
The dog
freak
stole
with my
this
books.
out of
Yeah,
the
you
book.
are a
Start eating
freak.
it.
Yeah. You guys crack spines?
I like my book to actually look like I read it and to be loved. Not
I
to
want-
be sitting pretty.
I want my
It's
book
like
to
the
be pretty.
Velveteen Rabbit. It was the toy. Oh, you guys didn't know that story?
No,
What?
I did. Nana
It was the
told me
most
so.
used, like in the nursery. The Velveteen was the ugliest one because its eye was out, but it was loved the most because they played with it the most. So I
But I
thought,
love
kind of
it.
like Django's cheetah.
Yes.
Dog toys. I love it and I want it to stay pretty.
Yeah,
That's
we're all
why
different.
I buy hardback books. I paperback books, the little corner gets folded. I'm pissed.
Okay, so this is why I want to get into bookbinding. Because if I have my paperback books, I can rip those things up,
Oh,
like
my-
make them all messy. But if I get a hardcover and make it special collector's edition, then I have my pretty books and then I have my love books.
Man,
You
she
can love a
really
pretty
did warn
book.
her though.
Yes, but
She
the
did.
pretty book
Multiple
is for
times.
display
She did.
only.
But I think isn't that the point? Like if you ask about something, you have to know both sides of it. So I think Estelle telling her about don't pray at night. You know, if you're asking about something that's significant, right? Praying, you have to know both sides.
Yes.
Or it would have been irresponsible to me of Estelle.
Oh, if she
Well,
didn't
she
tell her?
wasn't going to
Yeah.
answer her at first.
Yeah, she
She
wasn't.
wasn't even going to answer her because she was asking, well, what about these other gods? You know? Trying to find that one spot, but I can't find that spot.
Didn't she already pray at night, but to the other gods? So do you
But
think?
she said it wasn't. Oh, I'm talking about church. But she said
Yeah,
that
to
she
God,
did and
right?
she prayed, but
Yeah,
it wasn't
with
like a
her
religion
parents.
to her. It was, part of the routine.
Yeah, she
Yeah, it
did
was a
every
You know,
time
it
because
wasn't
of her
any kind of
parents.
connection
She didn't
at all.
mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you think even if she was praying to God or gods at night, then do you think that maybe he heard her and was listening to her and waiting for that moment of desperation to reach out?
Well, she
You
never
know what
did
I
it
was
at night
thinking?
until she was desperate.
I thought she did, like, in
She
her
almost
bed. She was
created
praying
him.
to, like,
I don't know
God,
if she did, but
God.
it seems that way
Oh, I
because it goes.
I don't know, maybe
She
I'm
starts
sorry.
from just drawing, you know, all the things that she liked about other guys, you know, and he became more and more of a person, so much so that they would have conversations,
Yes.
you know, and then you wonder how much of that was actually him. Does that make sense? Do you know what I'm talking about? Or just her imagination?
What I'm
Like
saying
full conversations.
is that she brought it. I'm thinking that she was praying at night on accident to this darkness, and he has been in her head for a long time. And when she created this space and she was having conversations, that was actually the darkness in her head.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Could
But
be.
call me crazy, guys. Call me crazy. Did that make sense, or am I crazy?
No, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Because she warns her hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't find many books where men want out of their life. Isn't that kind of interesting?
Yeah.
How many books do we read where women feel
None.
trapped and but we're stubborn and we're powerful. They just don't want us to know we are, right?
We are the
But I wonder how many men feel the same.
That's a good question.
Probably a lot.
I would
Because
think
they
a
say
lot.
men's suicide rate is
Yep.
higher than
Higher,
women's,
yes.
you know.
Especially,
They're
I
just
think-
as hopeless.
Even like the royals, I'll bet there's a lot of them that don't want to be, right?
Yeah.
Like king or brought up as prince and you don't want it. Like, I don't know. I just
But
think
it's
it's
different
interesting.
for them to say they don't want it. That's where their pressure is. You know,
Mhm,
they're not
exactly.
allowed to say that this is hard or I can't do it or I don't want to do it.
Right.
You
And
know.
it's too
And
bad
I'll bet there's
no-
a lot of them that want to be free.
Yeah, it's too bad there's no stories like that.
Yeah.
To inspire men who
I
feel
agree.
trapped to change their lives and make a difference. In
Because
their
in them it's a weakness, right? To feel trapped and want to be free. But for us it's a strength. It's interesting.
life. That is really interesting.
Because I think about, we were talking about how the mom was like, don't give her ideas. Don't put ideas in her head. Why would we be like that to each other? Right? Like, why would you not want your daughter? I don't know. It's kind of interesting
Yeah.
to be free and independent. But I guess on the other hand, it is the life. That's all your options.
Yeah.
That's the only option you have.
It's
So it's
kinda
interesting. Or you're like, Estelle, how did Estelle do it? She wasn't married. Sounded like she'd never been married.
Well, she was labeled as the crazy lady, right?
Well, then just be the crazy lady. You could be free, right? Is that all Addie had to do?
Was it be the crazy
Yeah.
lady? But they already had a claim crazy ladies. They can't have two.
I don't know.
Well, I don't think they considered her a crazy lady
Yeah, I
because
thought
when
she was kinda respected.
when she wanted to leave, remember Addie says, "Oh wait, I forgot the gift. I got my new husband a gift," and Estelle's like, "Yeah,
Dad knew.
let
Dad
her."
knew.
She's like, "She's a woman now. You can't be her dad. Let her go on her own."
Yep.
And why would you, if she was a crazy lady,
Yeah,
then
you
you'd be
wouldn't
like,
listen.
"Ooh, it doesn't matter who says that. What? Yeah."
But I love that Dad knew instantly. He's like,
Yeah.
But the mom was just like, oh, how sweet.
Yeah.
It's funny.
That's because her dad knew her.
I know. I love that. I love her relationship with her dad. I'm so sad.
That's
You
very
know.
sad.
I think she says in there, it struck me, she's like, I may not always remember the stories he told, but I remember how he sounded
Yeah.
when he
Yeah,
told them.
how he
Yeah.
told
And
them.
I was like, oh,
It made me cry.
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. It's good.
I know.
It is good. It's like
But
a.
it's so different from what we've been reading.
It's like fantasy, but not too much fantasy.
Yeah,
you
so
know?
it's good because it's heavy, but it's not necessarily reality heavy.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like Hello Beautiful or A Woman
Exactly,
is No
yeah.
Man or Firekeeper's Daughter. This is a little bit lighter that way because
Yeah.
you know, okay, no one can live 300 years,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
you know.
Unless there's somebody out here and we don't remember them.
Deja vu.
Deja vu.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they say, deja vu. That it's,
See
you know,
again.
it's just a feeling. You
I
know.
get deja vu.
I don't know. I get it too, and it doesn't seem like just a feeling.
It feels like I've done it. Like, literally, I can't.
Well, I've had moments where I know what Josiah's gonna say next, because I've seen it. I'm like, we've had this conversation.
I'm a
before.
prophet. Actually, I'm just a prophet of my own life. That's what my dad says. He goes, I have dreams where I can predict the future. Dad, he's like, I'm a prophet. I was like, no, you're not, Dad. No, you're not. Listen to this.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I don't really know right now where it's gonna go. Can she get out of it?
No,
Is there a loophole?
There has to be. There always is.
There always is, right? That's what I think too. There's always a loophole, but do you ever know what it is? Does she figure it out?
I don't know.
I just think that she's not. I really think that Henry is going to be.
The loophole? That
darkness is just literally just letting it happen so that she can build her hope up and then take it away from her. So that he'll get her soul. But that's like me playing devil's advocate. You know, like. Devil's advocate.
But if he wanted her soul, I think he would have done that before 300 years went by.
Yeah, I don't think he cared either way.
Yeah, he's just like, he knows she's his.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's got time.
Well,
I don't know.
She said, he said, there's too many lives. I'm not going to track you of your all of your movements. Is the impression I got, because she was saying, I wonder if he's paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously he is. He talks to her.
I know.
Yeah,
it's really cool. I like it. I have one prediction.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if it's a prediction more. It's a hope. I hope the book ends with her giving up her soul, being like, I'm done.
I don't know.
That's what I want to happen.
Okay.
I don't know if it will.
I can see that in a couple of ways. One might be really depressing, where like her and Henry, and then he dies.
Yeah. She's like, all right, see ya.
Yeah, that'd be sad.
That's sad.
But it would be beautiful.
Or that he forgets her.
Giving up her soul is beautiful. In no way is her giving up her soul to the devil beautiful.
If they get to live together.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then she's like, I've seen enough life.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He was,
So let me just, give up my soul to the devil now. I don't know.
It's already his.
Emily supports deals with the devil.
It's already his. It's not that part. I just mean, if Henry were to pass away and she's like, that's enough life. I've lived the fullest thing.
It's weird because I read a book with Todd on my book challenge with him called The Witching Hour by Anne Rice. And it was about this family of witches, and it started in the 1700s, and there was a devil, right? Like this, he was darkness, and he would seduce them, and he gave them power, but he controlled them all the way through to modern day, like the next in line, and he would become it reminds me of this in that sense, like he would become whoever they wanted him to be. It was really interesting, but they all fell in love with him. And he could, the more powerful the witch, the more human he became.
Oh.
So it's, I don't think, but so you guys think of the Fourth Wing or the other one, but I think more of that, like.
That's interesting.
That's in my mind. By a woman or a male?
Woman.
Cause I think that is like romanticizing.
It is. It is. The ending was really bad. I didn't like the ending, but it was interesting. It was an interesting concept, like.
Yeah.
And then none of them could resist him either. There were a couple that tried. They were like, I'm not giving in. But he seduced them all. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But that's kind of what he does, right? I mean, he becomes who she wants. Mm-hmm. He touched her, she felt, and then he kissed her, and yeah, it's kind of interesting.
He definitely took on the shape of what she envisioned as the stranger.
Mm-hmm. And for how much it's like society says that, all men want is sex, women are pretty susceptible to being seduced too. Come on now, right? Like,
or saying women are horny too.
That's what I'm saying. We talk about men, but women too. Come on.
Well, maybe a different way. Had never spoken about it. It wasn't okay, and you're not supposed to feel that way. Yeah. You don't talk about it.
You're right.
Yeah.
But for men, it's like empowering, and that makes you a man. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
That is kind of crazy when you think about that.
There's a lot of things that are crazy.
No, like, because there was something brought up the other day. Jason had brought something up, and he said, what was it? Oh, it was about, something to do with wrestling, some wrestler. But, so she gets married, has a child, and then she's like, the way he explained it was, she dipped out.
Okay.
And, had her career, and she always spoke about having, she sacrificed her family for her career, and, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, why can't she? Because she's a wife or because she's a woman? It's bad that guys do it all the time. Why is it wrong for her to choose her career over family? Whereas the guy does it every damn day, It's his kid too. He left and he's on the road, or he's driving his truck across country 7 days a week and comes home and, good night, baby boy, and then he'll be back next week. I mean, really? And he's like, oh, I never thought of it that way. But because forever and ever and ever, or you'll hear people say, well, she chose to get pregnant. Okay, well, what would you want her to do then? Well, she chose to have the baby, but you also look down on her if she aborts the baby. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's interesting how even as women, I find myself having certain biases, and I'm like, oh, when you see it, when someone brings it to your attention, you're like, oh, yeah. Or the girl who, I couldn't get a job doing anything else. I became, a Playboy bunny, or I became a prostitute. And you're like, oh, well, she could have done other things. Could she have? Would she have made as much money? Would she be as successful? I mean, are we willing to do low-paying jobs just to survive? Or doesn't she have the right to do something where she can make a lot of money? Why can't she? Yeah. It's just interesting. I'm not saying one is right or the other, but it's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. Where she didn't, she felt like she had no choices or whatever. Was very, very desperate to get out of that situation, but what else could she have done other than just do what her mom and dad? I think even her dad felt bad for her, but he was just kind of like, you've waited too long. You're 23, so now we're just going to marry you off to anybody who asks.
3 and 20.
That's kind of crazy too. Well, her best friend, at 16? Was it 16?
Early.
Got married, Isabel?
Yeah.
And within a year she was pregnant and had a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It is crazy to think about.
I'm 2 and 20.
You're almost an old maid. Good thing you got married.
Well, I'm married. So I'm not a spinster.
Very true. Very true.
What? Nothing. I was looking at you. Sorry. My bad.
I think it's interesting too how people even older, 27, they're like, oh, I'm not married yet. I feel like those ideas are changing a little bit too, though. It's before, it's like if you hadn't gotten married or had a kid by 30, you're like, whoa. Mm-hmm. You're a little old to be having a baby now, Which is bizarre. It's like, it's 2024. Why do we still think that?
Boo.
Kind of crazy.
There's a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah. Doesn't seem weird until you start talking about it, though. You're like, why do we think that?
Mm-hmm.
Like a guy can dip on a baby, the girl gets pregnant, the guy can take off and I don't want to have kids. But if the girl was to do that, I left my baby at the church. I don't want to be a mom. She wouldn't be able to speak about it in public. Mm-mm. People would, destroy her.
But do you think the father deserves to know if she has an abortion then, on the other side?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying there's always so much, yeah. It's kind of crazy. That's why I think everything is super, super complicated. There are many, many sides to one thing. I don't think there is, who am I to say? It's not my life. Thank goodness I'm not God. I don't have to judge those things. It's not any of my business. But you could always become an immortal. Just go in the woods.
Just pray after dark in the woods.
Yeah. Get seduced.
Solid advice from the Lit Ladies Book Club.
Yes. Lean into the darkness.
I thought it was interesting how usually when you're praying, you're kind of asking, but she was pretty demanding. Mm-hmm. Answer me. What? You cracky? What? If you want, if you want something from anyone, even a normal person, do you demand it?
Yeah, give me a cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you do. Heck yeah.
I would ask. I say, can I please have?
It depends who it was
Will you-
and what
will
I
you
needed
please
and how
save me?
quickly I needed it, right?
Yeah,
That's
if I
true.
want
Are
to
you
cookie
telling me
right
you always
now,
ask Jason things you don't demand? Oh, I demand things with
I
Scott
do.
when I need it. He demands, like I think there's moments where, and him too, right?
Right
You don't
now.
ask nicely. I think people would get more results if they prayed more like that sometimes.
Maybe.
She did. She did get results. I think
did
before.
I think the stranger was biding his time.
Okay, anyway. So we're at it?
Yeah.
Okay. So we will see you guys. Is it Saturday now?
Yes.
Still Saturday.
Still Saturday. You do that
Every time. Okay, we will see you next Saturday for our episode 1.
Episode 2.
No.
We're recording episode 1.
Shit. Episode 2 will
Abby's
be...
had a long week. Stay tuned next week
Okay.
for the next section of the secret, I keep saying secret, the invisible life of Addie LaRue. We need to get our stuff together.
Whatever.
Okay. I'm Emily.
I'm Abby.
I'm Holly.
Miriam.
Bye.
God.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. If you made it to the end, check us out on Instagram for podcast updates and more content. We are also on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts as well. Again, thank you so much for listening. Please give us a like and a follow, and see you next Saturday.